What are we gonna do today? We're gonna make pop-up cards. Let's get started.
So the first thing we're gonna need to make this fold-up card is our template. Print it onto some cardstock, because you definitely want something a little heavier weight if you're doing this much folding on it. The black lines are the cut lines, the red lines are the valley folds, and the blue lines are the mountain folds. So copy this on the back side of a piece of cardstock. So you definitely want it on the back side because you're not going to see this by the time you're done. It's just your guide. I copied this onto some cardstock. So what I'm gonna do first is I wanted a fun image for the front that I could work on, and I thought I would make it more into a little outdoor greenhouse. So I cut the top and the bottom of my paper off, but I left the sides, and you're gonna see why when we get to that part. I'm kind of just eyeballing where this line is, and that will be the bottom half. And it doesn't need to be perfect, so I'm gonna just line this up where I think I'm gonna want this. I'm just gonna cut that and that. I'm gonna give myself a little room here. This blue line right here will be the center fold of your card. This will be the top, and this will be like the floor down here, anything below the blue line or above the blue line. So I want more of the bees on the top and this ground on the bottom. Now I'm decoupaging it to the other side, so to know where that is, I have left this on here, and I'm just gonna make a cut right here and right here so I can see from the other side. I'm even gonna go like this so I know where I'm at. Just a few little guidelines. Now I know this is the top and this is the bottom. Now I can see right there where that is. It's my horizon and my horizon. So I'm just gonna glue this down, and I'm just using a Mod Podge. Now, if you wanted something completely different, you could make it really, really easy and just cut a piece to fit the top and cut a piece to fit the bottom and make them separate. On my first one, that's what I did. I used one paper for the top, like a wallpaper, and then I used a brick for the bottom. So I used two different papers and just glued each piece down. And if I am a little off, it's not gonna matter too much. Because I know this is excess right here. So even before I cut it all apart, I am gonna start cutting this center out. You want to remember that you are cutting just the black lines. So I'm using an X-Acto and a cutting board, and I am just going to cut where my black lines are. And I found doing it on this plastic cutting board really made a huge difference. So when you've got all these cut out, now you want to cut around the edges of your card. I like to keep this on here while I'm cutting because it gives me a little more stability in cutting. So now I'm going to score all my lines. And what I found really worked, you could use a stylus, but I found this pen tip, and this pen does not write, and I'm just gonna use a ruler or straight edge and score through these, all of the red and blue lines. Now this line right here is going to be the center of the card. What we are gonna do to start this is I'm kind of loosening my pieces up here, making sure everything's cut out, like the bottom of this table, the bottom of this chair. And what I really wanna do first is fold the center of the card. So I'm going to like push these chairs and things out. So I'm bringing this down, and I'm going to push these up so I don't bend my chairs and my table. But I want to fold the center, at least the two ends, and then we can get, as we get further in, we can move the rest. Blue is mountain fold. And if you need to, you can use something to help you get it going, just to bring them up. And I know the red is going down, so you kind of have to maneuver it a little bit. Starting to come together here, you can see how that folds in like that. And it's like after you get it started, it really does come together. You just have to finagle with it just a little bit because it's so stiff. If you were using a really thin paper, it would probably be much easier. As soon as you start getting the shape going the way it's supposed to be, you can get the center fold of your card and actually fold the card down, and you'll see how much it really goes together. I'm carefully bring this, and I'm gonna try to fold my actual card now. That's gonna help make a big difference. Okay, now it doesn't look overly exciting yet, but we're gonna be getting to that. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add some fun pieces to this. Okay, so I think I'm gonna add some transfers to the top of this. So I will start with that. And I am gonna go just to this fold line here. And since we have all these bees, we need a garden. So I'm getting my cardstock for the back that I'm going to adhere this to, and I'm just tracing around my card. And I'm going to cut it just a little bit bigger. So I'm going to find my center spot. And I am going to score this other card. You're not going to see this inside spot that I'm scoring. You can see that you can see this white. By the time I put this back here, you're gonna see all that white space, and I don't wanna see that. I'm just going to take a piece of what I've used for the top. I probably use a piece of this in about 2 or 3 inches, and it doesn't have to be perfect. And I will put that there, and I've used this darker for the bottom, so a couple inches here. And I am going to glue that. And I just have my guideline there, so I kind of know where I'm at. The next thing we're going to do is adhere this to this card. So I'm finding my fold line where I scored, and I'm going to fold my card. And you can see now, you don't see the openings. And when you do, it looks like it's matching the background, and this matches the bottom. And that's how we're going to do that. You could glue this down, or you could use a heavy-duty tape. I'm going to use my Mod Podge. It's also a sealer, so even if I get it in areas that are open, it's just sealing the paper, and it's not hurting anything. So I'm just going to use my Mod Podge because I have it here. But you could use a heavy-duty tape also. And then down here where these pieces are, you need to make sure you hold those down. Okay, let's glue this back down. And I'm going to fold my card. If your glue isn't sticking really tight around the edges, use some tape. Some of these smaller pieces are going to be really tough to get tape on, so it's almost easier to glue those. And then just around the edges, use a heavier duty double stick tape. After you've adhered this down, whether you glue it or you tape it, then I'm going to cut the outside edges before we paint our furniture. I'm going to be using my DIY paint, and I'm going to use Prom Queen to paint my chairs. Now, if you're worried about this at all, you can just put this down here so you don't get paint anywhere else. So you can paint anything you want. I'm painting the whole chair, so I am just going right to that line right here and painting the arm. Painting the seat, all of this, all the way up through here, and just down in the front. So I'm going to let this dry and see if I need a second coat on it. So I'm going to add a little distressing to this and seal it, and then we are done. You don't want to break your paper. Okay, and then when I put my polyacrylic sealer on it, it'll help move it around. So, after you've seen this done, hopefully this gives you an idea of how you could make any design on a pop-up card. And even with the design that we have here, you could turn this into so many different looks depending what you put on it. Hope you give us a try. Don't forget, look in the description for the template, but whatever you do, have fun.